And away we go. Alright, let's see what me, Risk, or Eric has sent in our podcast group chat since the last time I recorded a podcast episode. Which isn't much, really, because I've been recording these episodes a lot more frequently than I usually would, in case there's a time when I'm on holiday, I'm not able to record a podcast episode. And that's okay. I just got to build up the bulk, just in case, so I don't freak out and jeopardize spending time with my family. It's important to prepare myself to ensure good moments are being made in the long run. Alright, so I've sent in a video from Instagram, as always, apparently. And I had to split this into two parts because for some reason on Discord, there is a maximum limit on the amount of data per video I've sent that I would send is capped at 10 megabytes. So anything I send to the group chat more than 10 megabytes, Discord would say, oh, you need to pay for a subscription. And I'm not going to pay for a subscription. What's even the point, man? So yeah, two parts to one Instagram Reel video, and the context is actually quite frightening. I shall play the audio for you right about now.
So what happens when a genius starts pushing back against the system? A young man in BC was detained and forced into a psych ward after spreading awareness about state overreach in Canada.
This is Dr. Emery. He's a resident psychiatrist, senior resident. So I'm going to certify you under the Mental Health Act. We're going to bring you to hospital, do testing on you, and you're going to talk to a psychiatrist in a controlled environment because we don't believe that you're going to attend an appointment. I've never been given a chance to attend an appointment.
His name was Nicholas Wagter, and he was detained by police officers after they claimed he was certified by Dr. Christine Taylor, who for some reason had all of her online profiles completely wiped. She apparently evaluated him at a coffee shop where he was holding a meet and greet to connect with people when she and her associates ambushed him and didn't even talk to him for 2 seconds before he stormed out.
Okay, so I'm going to leave because what I'm going to tell you is that what you're doing right now is illegal. It's an ambush is what you're doing.
Yeah. The weird part is he circled back to the cafe and found that everyone in the cafe seemed to be undercover. One person had a gun, the others had wires and walkie-talkies like they were setting up a sting operation. They're claiming that in that 2-second interaction, the psychiatrist had enough evidence to certify him. Well, I looked into BC's policy for involuntary admission, and so I have 4 conditions before they can admit anyone, and literally only one condition was met. The person is deemed by a doctor not suitable as a voluntary patient. So the state actually gave doctors the power to admit anyone they deem unwell into a psychiatric ward without their consent. See, here's the kicker. This all happened after Nicholas had been going around to a bunch of MPs' offices telling them that the government has been passing authoritarian clauses into law, which we all know, that could destroy our sovereignty. This is the document he gave them. It's called China-Vancouver Attempt, where he says China and the corrupt Canadian government are trying to turn Vancouver into a Chinese dictatorship police state. In the document, he lists authoritarian bills like C8, C9, C15, and C21. He also says Carney is colluding with China to sell Vancouver to them by First Nations bands and DRIPA. This is not a crazy person. He graduated from Western University in biophysics. In 2025, he actually wrote a paper on the unified theory of gravity, aka quantum gravity, the combination of Einstein's general relativity with quantum mechanics. It got over 900 downloads. Canada is creating their own thought police. Doctors can deem you mentally unwell and force you into a mental institution against your will with no evidence. The people who are calling out the corruption are being targeted, called crazy, and put into mental institutions. I put a link to Nicholas's document down below. I encourage everyone to read it, and they have 4 conditions before they can admit anyone and...
Wow. That is something. Where the fudge do I even start to discuss in that video which I just played for you? Now, firstly, I would say that it is important that you do get the support you need if you're going through something or something in terms of your thinking or whatever's going on in your mind. If it is concerning for you, then yeah, I would suggest, I'm no expert in any of this. I would suggest that if there's an expert that knows a thing or two about what's going on in relation to that video, then do talk to an expert about, maybe talk to a therapist, psychiatrist, or whoever's relevant in regards to what problems or issues you have in your life. I'm not going to tell people not to do that because I know how important such issues like that is for a lot of people. In regards to the video I just played for you, whilst it is important that such help and support should be made available to people that absolutely need it. To have these doctors and experts to just say that, oh, you need to be put in a psychiatric ward, or you're having some kind of mental issues, so we have to put you in this and that, and we'll have to put you in some kind of facility for a very long time, without having given any ironclad evidence that proves the case of why that person should be in such mental facilities to begin with. It's not just a stretch. It is also a violation of a person's personal freedom, as well as a violation against no, not violation. It is also an insult to people that genuinely do have mental or psychological issues. So how is it that doctors and experts can just admit anyone without having to give much evidence or reasoning for why that person should be in some kind of mental facilities, yet someone who do experience and are going through genuine mental issues, we barely hear diddly squat about them. There isn't much support provided to such people that genuinely do need it. They are the highest priority. So even when, and I've seen the video many times, and the creator in question, he has actually gone into more depth with that conversation about, well, not just the context of the man that's been, how do I describe it? I know how to describe it, just not sure what the word should be. Is the guy in the video that was doing research about the mental institutions and other research within Canada, yet the doctors and the experts are trying to put this guy in a mental illness facilities. Beyond that general context, the creator that spoke in that video I just played for you a moment ago had also made other videos in regards to a mixture between people that commented on that original video, saying that when they tried to share that exact video onto Instagram, which was the video I've got that video from to share with Eric and Risk, it wasn't working for them. And also, at the end of that video I just played, the guy said that the man that was being forced to be put into a mental illness facility against his will, he'd even written his own paper in regards to the aforementioned related issues, which I'd assume, which is one of the reasons why, and I'm not, oh no, it's like one of the reasons from perspective of most people online talking about the severity of the situation is saying, oh, what the research paper this man has done, the same man that were trying to interview the doctors and the experts that would supposedly try to ambush him. It sounds like, to me, and to other people as well, that whatever that man is doing with his research paper, the Canadian government doesn't want that man to spread his knowledge and information that he's gathered to more and more people. And on top of everything I just said already, and people commenting that when they tried to share this story onto Instagram, where I found the video, their phones were working for them. The same creator from that original video also made another video talking about how other people trying to share that exact story, they weren't able to do so. And I'm not going to say that Instagram is in on this, that Instagram's trying to prevent people from knowing more about the story that's been talked about this man trying to be put into a mental institution by doctors and experts by using the laws put in place by Canada, or more specifically British Columbia, to prevent information by this man from going across to other places. if that was true, in my opinion, that video what I just played for you a few minutes ago, that would not have been up to begin with. Even if there are information that local governments, national governments, other experts in whatever field don't want particular information going about, discussions have to be made somewhere. And one more thing I will add to that Instagram video which I just played. Whilst stories, well, that particular story has been shared across amongst many people on Instagram, I have seen a couple of comments saying that the man that was supposedly put into a mental institution by the doctors and experts he supposedly had interviewed, or someone that knows the doctors and experts, I'd assume there's a large network of them across British Columbia, Canada. There are some comments by people in videos related to it saying that the man in question is okay, he's been released now from whatever mental institution he was being put in, and he's going about his life scot-free and living life as a free man. At least I've seen a few comments like that by a few people on Instagram. It's not clear if that is true or not. That is something that I've seen. Even when the man that tried to provide research information to the people, everyone across the world, about what he knows about the health sector, the psychological aspect of treating mental illness and whatnot within Canada, that man in question is okay. That's great to hear, in my opinion. I think there's a bigger issue at play here. Even if people that do call out things for what they are, and calling out information that which is crucial for people to know, so that they don't fall victim to whatever legislation or fine prints are put in place. This is more about the journey which these people go through when calling out information made by experts and whatever information on particular sectors going about within network circles. This is more about the journey of these people have been through. Even when the destination of these people being okay, they can continue living their lives. Even if people thought, oh no, is he gone? Is she gone, or whoever? Even when the destination of these people, when calling out information that not many people know about, which people should know about, are okay, the bigger issues about the journey which these people have gone through, the process of being questioned for what they know about, and also the facilities which people are being held in to see if whether people would break, they would admit to their wrongdoings, if any, or maybe perhaps someone try to gather whatever they can, whatever evidence to prove that whatever this person is doing is not okay, and therefore they should be punished with jail time, sent to a institution, etc. And yet these people can't find anything that is worth looking into, or anything that's ironclad that justifies the decision made by the people that's calling out on the whistleblowers. These are scary times, folks. Whilst I know nothing of this particular subject, nor will I ever see myself go to such lengths to call such information out, because, again, not just that I don't know much about the topic in question, also, what do I gain from that? Surely the man in question that written his own research paper for everyone to look at, yet the link in question that was being shared that was shared by the creator made that video, it showed that the link was either not working or the original creator deleted it. I'd assume it's the first, that the link is not working. I know far too much about what goes on in this world. And whilst I have my enemies and my rivals, given what the man had been through, not just with his research paper in regards to the psychological aspect of the health sector in Canada, also with trying to question the doctors and experts in aforementioned field and realize that what you're doing is illegal, you shouldn't be doing this. You can't just admit how many people you like just because you want to or feel like it. I would never want any of my enemies or rivals to go through what that British Columbia Canadian man had been through. It's not pretty. It's awful. No matter how much good you try to do for the world, and no matter how hard you try to ensure that the crucial information that should be made aware gets around to many corners of the globe, you're going to be encountered and bombarded with opposition, strong opposition. I don't want to see any of my enemies or rivals go through that. I don't wish any of that on them. Even if I have my differences with them, there's fallouts that it was kind of messed up. Given what I've seen in that video I just played minutes ago, no one should go through that. It's very unfortunate. And that is all that is been sent to the podcast group chat thus far as of the last time I recorded a podcast episode. With that all being said, let's get right into the news. Google employee charged with using inside information to make $1 million on Polymarket. I'm not surprised this was going to happen. But why call it out now? Well, I'll answer that after reading the summary. Google software engineer Michel Spagnuolo was arrested Wednesday in New York after federal prosecutors unsealed charges of commodities fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering, alleging he fraudulently made more than $1 million through Polymarket bets. Spagnuolo's access to Google's confidential search data enabled him to bet through an account named Alpha Raccoon that singer David would rank as Google's most searched person in 2025, a prediction Polymarket assigned near zero probability to. Prosecutors alleged that unlike other traders, Spagnuolo knew the outcome of these wagers before the trading public did because he had accessed Google's confidential, commercially valuable internal data. After winning, he took deliberate steps to conceal his unlawful use of non-public information. Spagnuolo, an Italian citizen, was arrested in New York and scheduled to appear before a federal magistrate Wednesday, though it remained unclear whether he had secured legal counsel. This case marks the second prediction market prosecution by the Southern District of New York this year. Soldier Gannon Van Dyke pleaded not guilty last month to similar charges involving Polymarket bets on a classified Venezuela raid that ousted Nicolas Maduro. And again, I am not surprised that people are going to use whatever valuable non-public information that some people would have access to, so they can make a bunch of money from Polymarket bets. Why? Because if you have access to such data that only some people, especially you, would only know about, if no one else, that is certainly spot on, and that you place a bet on the aforementioned outcome, which apparently is true, and then you make millions of dollars, then that would mean that you would be accused for what a lot of politicians had been doing for many, many decades. In other words, insider trading. It may make you a lot more money than anyone else, yet it would not have been fair on other people if people did not have the privilege of getting such access to such data, and thus the aforementioned people would have been able to make loads of money from the said Polymarket bets. So to be honest, if people are going, so if politicians are going to be prosecuted for insider trading, which a lot of the cases that's not happening, yet they should happen anyway, then might as well as provide the same treatments slash punishment to everyday people that use valuable non-public data to get an advantage in prediction market betting. So yeah, you reap what you sow, you pay the price for your actions. Now, can't say this something like this wouldn't happen again, yet given how often people have access to data that not many people will know about, it will be a while until a story related to what I just read about someone from Google using data that's not supposed to be made public to make millions of dollars on Polymarket. It's going to be a while until another story like that is going to be talked about again. Blood test added to screening guidelines for colorectal cancers for first time. On Wednesday, the American Cancer Society released updated colorectal cancer screening guidelines endorsing two new stool tests, Cologuard Plus and ColoSense, while recommending shield blood testing only for patients declining other options. Colorectal cancer has become the leading cancer killer among Americans under 50, with less than half of adults aged 45 to 49 completing routine screenings, driving the ACS to expand testing options. Cologuard Plus and ColoSense demonstrates 95% and 93% sensitivity for cancer detection, respectively, while Shield detects about 83% of colorectal cancers, but is significantly less effective at catching precancerous polyps and early stage disease. Dr. William Dahoud, Chief Scientific Officer at the American Cancer Society, stated the blood test is not the first choice, but appropriate for patients unable to, or unwilling to undergo colonoscopy or stool collection, with positive results requiring colonoscopy follow-up within 6 months. Blood-based tests show more than 90% completion rates versus 28% to 71% for colonoscopy or stool testing. Though ACS can, President Lisa Lacasse warned that coverage and affordability remain critical barriers to equitable screening access. Well, what I will say firstly is in regards to the rates for Cologuard and ColoSense detecting cancers, well, as they happen or before they happen. That's great to hear that there is such technology that's developing and getting more advanced at detecting what kind of cancer people have within the colon area, and hopefully, not that it's been mentioned, ways to treat said cancerous polyp, or I'm not sure what else to call it. What I'm grateful for is that the technology for detecting cancer is not just improving, it is also becoming more effectively efficient in detecting said cancerous spots in areas in our bodies. And to see such technology continuing to improve is incredible. That's great to hear. And of course, even though that there is affordability concerns and lack of coverage are also issues, I mean, there's always going to be setbacks. There will be limitations at some point. Even if there is so much good coming from such research, there will be setbacks. Not just what we mentioned here, but with anything in general. So long as there are ways to tackle aforementioned setbacks and obstacles in ways that is not just affordable, it is also effective and efficient, where there is justified reasons to continue doing so for the greater good of one's health. That is all that I would add to that story. So, hopefully this continues for the next few years. I assume they will continue for the next few years. And yeah, it's a good start with screening tests and detecting cancers, and of course, how to tackle with the cancer cells and eradicate them as soon as possible. Ousted BP chair Albert Manifold rejects lies over his conduct. On Tuesday, the BP board unanimously removed Chair Albert Manifold, citing serious concerns regarding governance standards and conduct, appointing Director Ian Tyler as interim chairman. Whistleblower complaints reportedly alleged Manifold displaying a shouty management style and bullied colleagues during his 8-month tenure, prompting the board's swift action. Manifold disputes the allegations entirely, stating he was removed without warning and without explanation, and promising to contest the board's characterization as a false narrative. BP shares fell 4% on Tuesday following the announcement, reflecting investor unease, while Consolidation Authority under CEO Meg O'Neill, who Manifold hired last year. This ouster marks the third chair and third CEO replaced in under 3 years, fueling criticism BP has become ungovernable, with climate activist Mark Van Baal of Follow This urging governance reform. Really? 3 years. 3 bleeding years. And in that time, 3 chair people and 3 CEOs had been replaced within that time frame. Goodness me. And I thought the changing of prime ministers under the Conservatives for the last 14 years were quite a handful of swapping about. Wow, 3 years changing between 3 chair people and 3 CEOs. Madness. Absolute madness. And even when people say, oh, how can we trust BP if they're changing leadership every now and then? And yet, the stock shares for British Petroleum, BP for short, yes, it's fallen by 4%, yet that is bad as it will get under such criticisms. It's not end of the world for BP. And besides, the fact it is better for them to find out that their stock shares have fallen by 4% as opposed to 40% or 80%. That would be a disaster. So of course, yes, there's criticisms amongst investors and people saying that BP is looking more ungovernable by the weeks or quarters going by. To the eyes of most people that aren't as skeptical or heavy on criticisms in regard to BP, it could be worse, they would say. At least it's not fallen by 10, 40% of stock share valuation, some people would say. But still, yeah, it still baffles me. I know I've said this already, it just still baffles me. How on earth you change 3 chair people and 3 CEOs within 3 years, within the last 3 years? yeah, there are serious problems going on in BP. The fact that it's still going strong thus far, and a 4% valuation decrease in stock shares is the worst that could happen to them. That's quite the miracle. I think BP should be grateful that their losses aren't as bad as it is now. Ah, goodness. Now, it's not any better for BP, given whatever criticism is coming out, and especially hearing that BP is seemingly backing out of committing to tackling climate change goals and net zero targets. Although that's a story for another time, and I believe that's something that Risk 11 would say that I think it's good that oil companies aren't going to fulfill the agenda of climate change and net zero targets or whatever. That's at least what Risk would say. However, yeah, I will end up with this. It's a miracle for BP to continue staying strong. Yes, they've lost a couple percentage points in stock valuation, and they have changed of leadership multiple times, yet they're still standing. Incredible. But that's not going to last. But that miracle run that BP is on right now, despite turmoil and leadership crises, such honeymoon period isn't going to last forever. They will have to bring down the hatches. They got to bring the mallets in this. They will have to deal with the situation at hand, whatever that might be, before eventually investors start pulling out and put their money in something else, in another oil company, and yeah, can't think of any other worst case scenarios for BP as it stands now. Yes, they'd still continue to exist. Like, seriously, what on earth is going on there? What's the hubbub besides, besides manifold, allegations of bullying colleagues and whatnot? Besides that, what other problems going on in BP that really gets people skeptical about their future? Only time will tell. And that is it for the episode.